Imagine this. Just last week, the Kentucky Fried Chicken on Fowler Avenue near USF in Tampa had to shut its doors, not for renovations, but because of insect activity in the kitchen. Disturbing, right? But what if I told you there's something even more unsettling quietly happening in the very food you trust the most, the comfort food you turn to time and again? Have you ever taken a bite of that familiar fried chicken, that comforting sandwich, and felt a tiny whisper of doubt? A subtle feeling that something deep down just wasn't quite right? For generations, Americans like you grew up trusting the food we ate. We didn't need a science degree to understand an ingredient list because things felt simpler, realer. But today, if that golden brown piece of chicken you're savoring isn't entirely what it claims to be, if it's packed with secrets designed to trick your taste buds and boost profits, how would you, a busy American just trying to enjoy a meal, ever truly know? This isn't just about one restaurant failing a health inspection. It's about a silent transformation happening across our most beloved fast food menus, fundamentally changing what chicken really means. Prepare yourself, because on the hidden menu today, we're peeling back the layers to expose what might truly be inside the chicken you've always loved. And trust me, what we uncover might just change your next meal forever. Let's dig in, starting with the classic. When you step into a Popeyes, it's not just the smell of crispy, spicy chicken that hits you, it's a wave of comforting nostalgia. For so many Americans, it conjures up memories of simple drive-through dinners after exhilarating ball games, or those late-night cravings when the only beacon of warmth and flavor was that orange-lit counter on the corner. You order your usual, perhaps a combo with those legendary red beans and rice, and take that first bite, expecting the exact same bird you grew up with. But somewhere along the line, something subtle yet significant has changed, and it's not just your memories playing tricks on you. A growing number of loyal customers have started to whisper a question that might sound strange. Is the chicken at beloved chains like Popeyes still just chicken? This isn't a random thought. It's rooted in a quiet, widespread shift across fast food kitchens nationwide, a change enabled by food labeling laws that allow far more than you might ever suspect. Terms that seem innocent, like seasoned, enhanced, or marinated, can legally disguise the fact that the chicken you're eating now contains significant amounts of added water, sodium, modified food starch, and various flavoring agents. These additives can astonishingly make up to 15% of the product's total weight. That means the supposedly juicy piece of chicken you're biting into is, in part, pumped full of carefully engineered additives designed not just for taste, but primarily to retain moisture, boost flavor, and extend shelf life long before it even reaches your plate. Former employees and food prep staff from various locations have stepped forward, sharing first-hand accounts of receiving prepackaged chicken, often in vacuum-sealed bags, already injected with these flavor solutions and other chemical concoctions long before it ever touches a fryer. These solutions can contain hydrated proteins and potent chemical preservatives, which stretch the meat's natural texture and mimic that satisfying crispy bite, all without the need for premium whole cuts of chicken. It's a system where Popeyes proudly advertises its deep Louisiana heritage, yet the ingredients behind the counter often feel less like soulful cooking and a lot more like a science experiment. For our seniors, this isn't just a fascinating food debate, it quickly becomes a serious health concern. Consuming excessive amounts of sodium and phosphates can quietly, yet dangerously impact those managing high blood pressure, kidney disease, or sensitive heart conditions. The danger intensifies when a chain blends these additives directly into raw chicken without clearly marking it on the final menu. You genuinely believe you're opting for a protein-rich, relatively straightforward meal, only to inadvertently consume far more sodium and artificial fillers than you ever intended or expected. The bitter irony is that you might not even discover this until a routine checkup reveals something amiss with your health. The deep nostalgia surrounding Popeyes makes it feel like an old trusted friend, a reliable source of comfort. But as beloved recipes are tweaked and kitchens are relentlessly streamlined for maximum profit, that invaluable trust can subtly and silently erode, leaving you with a product that looks and smells familiar but is fundamentally different. Most folks, captivated by the familiar spices and satisfying crunch, never pause to truly question what they are actually eating, not realizing that the bird beneath the crispy coating may not be the same one they so fondly remember. Next, consider Subway. You walk into a Subway expecting something lighter, something that genuinely feels a little healthier than the often greasy bags from other fast food chains. Maybe you gravitate towards the rotisserie-style chicken or the oven-roasted option, actively trying to make a more mindful choice for your lunch. But over the years, unsettling questions have begun to bubble up, casting shadows of doubt over what truly makes up the meat in those seemingly fresh sandwiches. Back in simpler times, chicken was just chicken, plain and simple, something you could recognize. Today, however, that familiar word, chicken, seems to carry a different, more convoluted meaning, depending on where you choose to eat. Several independent tests and investigative reports conducted over the years have quietly raised alarms specifically about Subway's chicken. One particular report from Canada, which sent ripples through the industry, astonishingly found that some of the chain's chicken samples contained as little as a mere 50% of actual chicken DNA. The remaining half, it was primarily soy protein, along with a complex cocktail of flavor enhancers, chemical preservatives, and texture modifiers, all designed to fill out the product. Subway, predictably, disputed these findings, but the story stubbornly stuck in the minds of customers, planting a persistent seed of doubt that has lingered ever since. Ask any former Subway employee, and they will likely echo a similar sentiment. The chicken arrives at the stores pre-cooked and pre-packaged, often submerged in a liquid solution specifically formulated to prevent it from drying out as it sits on the sandwich line. This means the chicken isn't prepared fresh. It's meticulously engineered for unwavering consistency and extended shelf life, not for genuine authenticity. While the menu proudly touts buzzwords like fresh and rotisserie, what ultimately ends up on your sandwich can be far more processed than most people realize or care to imagine. You might not immediately taste the difference because it's cunningly masked and complemented by an array of sauces, crisp veggies, and perfectly toasted bread. But make no mistake, it's there, skillfully hiding in plain sight within your seemingly wholesome meal. For older adults, especially those diligently trying to eat lean and clean, this presents a quiet, insidious trap. You believe you're choosing wisely, opting for a grilled chicken sandwich adorned with fresh lettuce and ripe tomato, a stark contrast to something overtly fried and greasy. Yet that very sandwich may still deliver an unexpected payload of high sodium, added sugars hidden within the marinade, and a significantly longer ingredient list than you ever bargained for. These seemingly small, innocent choices accumulate over time, particularly for those who must carefully watch their diet due to existing heart or kidney issues. Subway's advertising has always skillfully leaned into a narrative of health and simplicity, a refreshing alternative. But as intricate supply chains evolved and profit margins inevitably tightened, what once truly felt like straightforward food began to transform into something more akin to a carefully formulated product. When you hold that sub in your hands, you may not visually perceive the difference, but your body, slowly and silently, might just feel it. And by then, the cumulative damage may already be done, subtly impacting your long-term health. Then there's KFC, a name that for many Americans evokes an almost childlike sense of joy. That iconic red and white bucket, the irresistible aroma of warm biscuits, and the familiar reassuring face of the Colonel smiling back from the box. For generations, KFC was often one of our first, most cherished tastes of fast food. It marked special occasions, provided easy Sunday dinners, and even starred at countless birthday parties. But while the instantly recognizable branding has remained steadfast, what's nestled beneath that crispy, seasoned skin has quietly and profoundly changed. Like countless other fast food giants, KFC has systematically adapted its chicken supply for maximized speed, extended shelf life, and critical cost savings. Behind those undeniably bold flavors and that signature crunch lies a preparation method that bears little resemblance to what your grandmother meticulously cooked in her cast iron skillet. Their chicken is routinely enhanced long before it ever arrives at the restaurant. This crucial step means it's injected or heavily marinated with a solution typically containing water, salt, monosodium glutamate, MSG, and a host of other chemical preservatives. The overarching goal is clear: to make the chicken juicier, more consistently flavorful, and significantly cheaper to produce at an enormous scale. Multiple former workers have openly described how frozen or pre-brined chicken arrives at the locations, already prepared to be merely battered and fried. The precise seasoning blend may remain a closely guarded secret, but the underlying enhancements are far more about preserving uniformity and cost efficiency than about genuinely honoring tradition or authentic flavor. Additives like sodium phosphate and various modified starches are expertly incorporated to maintain moisture and consistent texture during the rigorous cooking process and extended holding times. The end result is chicken that feels tender and undeniably tasty, yet it may contain an astonishing amount, up to 20%, of non-chicken material by weight. For seniors who are diligently watching their sodium intake or actively trying to minimize processed foods in their diet, this hidden reality poses a quiet yet significant health risk. What feels like a classic, comforting indulgence is, in truth, often a heavily engineered product, meticulously designed more for enduring shelf life than for genuine nutritional benefit or your well-being. You might vividly remember how it used to taste, perhaps slightly greasier, slightly more real. That powerful memory is likely why you keep going back, hoping it will replicate that cherished flavor of yesteryear. But now, your body may be reacting to far more than just oil and breading. There's absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying comfort food from time to time, but true comfort should never come at the hidden cost of transparency. If the very essence of the chicken has changed so dramatically, folks deserve to know the unvarnished truth. Yet, in most cases, no one is actually telling them, not in the glossy ads, not on the simplified menus, and certainly not from behind the counter. If any part of this revelation has made you pause or felt a little too familiar, now might be a good time to like this video, share your thoughts below, and subscribe to the hidden menu, because what comes next might just fundamentally change how you look at your next meal. Next up is Chick-fil-A. For many loyal patrons, Chick-fil-A feels less like a fast food stop and more like a cherished tradition. Whether it's the remarkably polite service, the perfectly piping hot waffle fries, or the iconic signature chicken sandwich itself, this chain has long held a comforting, reliable place for families, weary travelers, and seniors alike. The sandwich boasts a deceptive simplicity, the branding is impeccably clean, and the chicken, well, it's always been supposed to speak for itself with its undeniable deliciousness. However, what a surprising number of dedicated customers don't realize is that what they are biting into may not be nearly as straightforward or wholesome as it initially appears. That signature fillet, so proudly advertised as real chicken, actually contains significantly more than just a simple chicken breast. According to candid insights from former employees and meticulous deep dives into official nutrition labels, Chick-fil-A's chicken is thoroughly marinated in a complex brine. This brine is formulated with monosodium glutamate, more commonly known as MSG, alongside a carefully chosen blend of other potent preservatives and powerful flavor enhancers. Now, MSG itself is not the absolute villain it was once made out to be, but for particularly sensitive individuals, especially older adults who might be managing high blood pressure, prone to migraines, or possess sodium sensitivities, this additive can undeniably still trigger uncomfortable and unpleasant reactions. That distinctive salty satisfaction you taste in the sandwich's lingering aftertaste doesn't simply come from the seasoning blend. It's a direct result of a lab-tested, scientifically formulated concoction designed specifically to make your brain crave more. And, to be brutally honest, it works incredibly well. Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich has frequently been ranked among the most intensely addictive fast food items available in America. Yet, remarkably few customers are truly aware that the very quality making it so addictive might not originate from the chicken itself at all. Even more quietly unsettling is the subtle issue of how this chicken is processed. Yes, it is indeed real meat, but it's extensively tenderized and pre-treated in a specialized factory setting long before it ever sees the inside of a restaurant's kitchen fryer. This sophisticated process frequently involves injecting or tumbling the meat with various solutions specifically designed to further enhance its flavor and maximize moisture retention. Industry insiders confirm that this method imparts the meat with a notably softer, more uniformly consistent texture, a quality that customers have implicitly come to expect. However, it also subtly blurs the crucial line between a whole, natural piece of meat and a significantly modified meat product. And while Chick-fil-A commendably avoids the meat paste criticisms often leveled at other chains, it still treads a very fine line when it comes to true transparency regarding its ingredients. Then there is the braiding, light, airy, and incredibly crisp, but it's far more than just simple flour and basic spices. That signature coating includes specialized anti-caking agents and precise texture stabilizers that guarantee it fries up perfectly golden and consistently delicious every single time, regardless of the individual cook working behind the counter. For seniors diligently managing various dietary restrictions, this seemingly minor detail matters immensely. Hidden sodium, insidious added sugars, and synthetic flavoring agents can rapidly accumulate in ways you might not consciously notice until you begin feeling unpleasantly bloated, a bit dizzy, or surprisingly sluggish after consuming a meal you genuinely believe to be wholesome and healthy. And what about those supposedly healthier grilled options? The grilled nuggets and sandwiches may cleverly bypass the deep fryer, but they most certainly do not bypass the lab. Multiple credible reports, including rigorous consumer tests, have definitively shown that these grilled options still contain a suite of preservatives and artificial smoke flavors, painstakingly designed to mimic the authentic taste of a backyard barbecue without ever touching a real flame. Former employees have even disclosed that the grilled fillets arrive at the restaurant pre-cooked, requiring only a simple reheating before serving. It's not necessarily dangerous, but it is certainly not what most customers envision when they hear the genuinely wholesome word grilled. The true irony here is that Chick-fil-A expertly markets itself as honest, wholesome, and even faith-based. While there's nothing overtly illegal about how their food is prepared, the quiet inclusion of additives and the reliance on clever flavor tricks undeniably create a misleading sense of purity. Seniors who inherently trust the Chick-fil-A name may not realize they are consuming significantly more sodium, more potent flavor additives, and more extensive processing agents than their doctors would ever comfortably recommend. And yet, despite these hidden truths, most people continue to go back. They return because it undeniably tastes good, because the service is unfailingly friendly, because the packaging is always neat, and the background music is soft and comfortably familiar. But behind that inviting warmth and familiarity lies a sophisticated system built on expertly engineered cravings and chemically optimized flavors. And that, for some folks, can feel like a genuine betrayal once they finally start reading the label. Now, let's turn our attention to McDonald's. There was a time when McDonald's embodied something beautifully simple: a reliably hot meal, an unbeatable low price, and a convenient, familiar place to rest during a long road trip. For seniors especially, it often holds a powerful, nostalgic pull. Perhaps breakfast shared with grandkids, an afternoon coffee with dear friends, or simply the profound comfort of something familiar and unchanging in an increasingly fast-changing world. Yet, remarkably few folks truly realize that even the simplest, most iconic menu items here are not always what they appear to be. Take, for instance, the legendary chicken nuggets. They are perfectly golden, irresistibly crispy, and universally kid-approved, but what's truly inside them has been a source of quiet questions and debate for decades. McDonald's officially states that their nuggets are crafted from white meat chicken, and that claim is, in a technical sense, true. However, these nuggets are absolutely not whole breast meat. Instead, they are made from a carefully formulated slurry of white meat trimmings, meticulously blended with modified food starch, various leavening agents, a medley of natural flavors, and of course, preservatives. The result is that distinctively spongy texture, remarkably consistent in every single bite, but hardly comparable to the experience of cutting into a freshly home-cooked chicken breast. Back in the early 2000s, videos that surfaced showing pink paste, mechanically separated meat, being used in food production sent shockwaves through the public. McDonald's publicly and vehemently denied using that exact method, and they have since subtly rebranded their processing. But behind closed doors, the fundamental practice of utilizing emulsified, seasoned, and skillfully shaped meat mixtures continues, albeit now with a far cleaner, more palatable presentation. Then there is the persistent issue of flavor. To guarantee that those nuggets taste precisely the same, whether you're in Boston or Bakersfield, McDonald's adds a highly specific flavor enhancer blend. This blend includes expertly hydrated vegetable proteins and carefully autolyzed yeast extract, both cunning sources of free glutamates that brilliantly mimic the effects of MSG. These compounds are specifically designed to heighten savory notes and intensify the overall deliciousness, but they can also, rather unexpectedly, trigger adverse reactions in particularly sensitive individuals, especially older adults with pre-existing conditions. And what about the once revered grilled chicken, long thought to be the undisputed healthy option? It was quietly, almost mysteriously, pulled from menus during the pandemic and has only recently reappeared in very limited formats. Former employees suggest it required far more delicate care to cook properly and was considerably less popular, meaning the preparation cost simply outweighed its appeal. In its stead, newer chicken sandwiches heavily rely on pre-brined and pre-cooked patties, often loaded with significant amounts of sodium and sugar, specifically to maintain flavor and moisture even after enduring prolonged periods under unforgiving heat lamps. For seniors who are diligently monitoring their blood pressure or actively managing heart conditions, these details matter immensely. A single McChicken sandwich, for example, can contain nearly 1,000 milligrams of sodium, almost half the recommended daily intake for older adults. Add a side of fries and a sugary soda, and you suddenly have a lunch that feels utterly innocent, but delivers a surprisingly hard hit to the body's delicate systems. McDonald's marketing still feels undeniably wholesome. Smiling grandkids, the iconic golden arches, and comforting senior coffee specials. But behind the counter, the food itself is overwhelmingly engineered, not genuinely crafted with care. That crucial distinction is the part most folks tragically miss, simply because it's cheap, because it's easy, and because it still tastes like it always has. But what it is made of, that part has profoundly changed, far more than most people could ever possibly realize. Now let's explore Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box has always maintained a somewhat distinct, almost rebellious identity among fast food chains, characterized by its quirky commercials, extensive late-night menus, and a remarkable reputation for offering a staggering variety of items, from tacos to egg rolls, classic burgers to chicken teriyaki bowls. However, buried within that massive, eclectic menu lies a chicken lineup that quietly raises far more questions than it provides clear answers. This is because, at Jack in the Box, the term chicken can encompass a multitude of different things, and not all of them align with what you might intuitively expect. Let's start with their ubiquitous chicken nuggets. They are undeniably cheap, satisfyingly crispy, and frequently featured in appealing late-night combo deals. But, according to the chain's own nutritional disclosures, these nuggets are not simply whole pieces of meat. They are made from white meat chicken that has been extensively chopped, precisely shaped, and meticulously blended with various binders and potent flavoring agents. It is not a whole breast, nor is it a natural thigh or leg cut. Instead, it is an emulsified chicken product, uniformly shaped into convenient bites and encased in a seasoned batter that provides the familiar crunch. Then there are the chicken sandwiches, available in both fried and grilled varieties. These sandwiches often feature generously sized patties that cunningly give the illusion of real, whole fillet cuts. However, The fine print on the ingredient list invariably reveals the truth. Many are, in fact, rib meat and white meat blends, meaning various parts of the chicken are mechanically separated and pressed together to form a cohesive patty. The grilled version even includes artificial flavoring agents to skillfully simulate that coveted backyard barbecue taste, complete with liquid smoke and manufactured grill marks applied in the factory setting. Jack in the Box also offers chicken strips, which by their very name suggest a closer approximation to real whole meat. But once again, the detailed ingredient list reveals a combination of chicken breast, augmented with added water, salt, and modified starches, all carefully designed to increase volume, enhance softness, and maximize moisture retention. One former employee vividly recalled that the strips arrive frozen, partially pre-fried and pre-seasoned, requiring little more in-store than a final quick fry. But the story isn't just about what the chicken is physically made of, it's also about what it's made with. Jack in the Box has faced considerable scrutiny in the past for its use of tertiary hydroquinone, or TBHQ, in their cooking oil, a synthetic preservative consistently linked to stomach irritation and potential long-term health effects when consumed frequently. Although the FDA permits its use in strictly small amounts, it's certainly not an ingredient most customers expect when they bite into a seemingly innocent, crispy chicken sandwich. For older customers who may have sensitive digestive systems, high blood pressure, or specific dietary restrictions, these hidden additives can quietly, yet significantly, take a toll on their health. Sodium levels across their chicken items are consistently high, and those delectable sauces that come on the side. Many are unfortunately loaded with added sugars, various thickeners, and artificial food dyes. Jack in the Box markets itself as a fun, slightly rebellious alternative to the more corporate chains. But behind the playful mascot and catchy late-night jingles is a highly efficient food system built primarily for speed, extended shelf life, and chemically engineered flavor. What you see advertised on the menu might proudly declare chicken, but what you actually get is a complex mix of various parts, numerous additives, and a lab-crafted taste. And if you're not diligently reading the ingredients, you would, quite simply, never know the difference. Consider Burger King. There was a time when walking into a Burger King felt akin to stepping into a modern-day castle of comfort food. Flame-grilled burgers, perfectly salty fries, and, yes, that tender chicken sandwich wrapped in warm paper, subtly adorned with a little crown on the label. But if you were to meticulously peel back that wrapper and take a much closer, more critical look, the real story behind that chicken is not nearly as straightforward or wholesome as it initially appears. Over the years, more than a few discerning customers have quietly, yet persistently, wondered exactly what they were biting into when they chose a Burger King chicken item. On paper, the menu confidently promises a crispy chicken or spicy chicken sandwich, and the polished advertisements showcase golden fillets, expertly cut into thick, succulent pieces. Yet behind the scenes, the actual preparation process tells a dramatically different story. Former employees have candidly revealed how many of the chain's chicken items are crafted from heavily processed meat. What industry insiders sometimes refer to as restructured or formed meat. It is chicken, technically speaking, but not in the whole natural way you might instinctively expect. Instead of a single recognizable cut or a pristine breast fillet, it is frequently a complex blend of different chicken parts, including various meat scraps, fat, added starches, and other fillers, all expertly pressed together and meticulously shaped to resemble a familiar fillet. The breading, which imparts that signature crunch we crave, is often seasoned not just for flavor, but to deliver an intense burst of taste that cleverly masks the underlying composition. And when it emerges from the fryer, hot and deliciously crispy, you might not pause to question it. However, the texture can sometimes feel unnervingly too soft or unnaturally uniform, almost spongy. This peculiar texture is often a telling sign of restructured chicken. Real, whole muscle chicken inherently possesses a natural grain and fibrous quality. These formed pieces, sadly, do not. Some customers, driven by curiosity, have even posted images online of their sandwiches pulled apart, revealing unsettling rubbery centers or strange, distinct layers within the chicken. In response, Burger King representatives have typically staunchly defended their product, emphasizing that it meets all necessary safety and quality standards. But, as with many large chains, merely meeting the bare minimum standard does not inherently mean the food is genuinely good for you or even what you truly believe it to be. There is also the pressing question of sodium content. A single crispy chicken sandwich at Burger King can contain over 1,000 milligrams of sodium, which is alarmingly close to half of what a healthy adult should consume in an entire day. Add a generous side of fries and a large fountain drink, and suddenly, what began as a seemingly innocent lunch has transformed into a veritable salt bomb. For seniors actively managing their blood pressure or diligently monitoring their heart health, that kind of meal is far more than just fast. It is undeniably risky, and the concern extends beyond just the sandwich. The chicken nuggets, specifically shaped and served in small convenient boxes for quick dipping, are also made from a heavily processed blend of chicken. Some former workers have reported that these nuggets arrive frozen in enormous bags, already fully formed and ready to be dropped straight into the fryer. They are quick to serve, undeniably easy to package, but a far cry from the kind of whole, natural chicken your grandmother lovingly baked on a leisurely Sunday afternoon. To be fair, Burger King is certainly not alone in these practices. Many fast food chains extensively rely on similar preparation methods to effectively cut costs and ensure unwavering consistency across all their locations. But that inescapable truth does not mean that consumers should passively accept it without questioning. Especially not for seniors who fondly remember an era when chicken unequivocally meant bone-in, oven-roasted, and brimming with honest, recognizable flavor, not machine-formed patties coated in layers of salt and oil. So, the next time that alluring ad promises crispy perfection or a meal made just for you, it might be profoundly worth remembering that what is deemed perfect for the company's bottom line is not always perfectly aligned with your own health and well-being. Let's now consider Checkers and Rally's. If you've ever pulled up to a Checkers or Rally's drive-thru, you probably recall the distinct voice crackling through the speaker, the neon glow casting reflections off your windshield, and that unmistakable, intoxicating smell of fried food warmly drifting through the air. Their chicken sandwiches and chicken bites are undeniable staples of the menu, cheap, fast, and aggressively loaded with flavor. But the very qualities that make them so addictive might just be the compelling reasons why you should genuinely think twice before indulging. Checkers and Rally's operate on a business model that meticulously focuses on incredibly low prices combined with a high, impactful flavor profile. To skillfully achieve this, they heavily rely on intense seasoning blends, powerful marinades, and expertly processed meats that stand up exceptionally well to the rigors of deep frying. Their chicken options, whether they are tenders, bites, or sandwiches, frequently contain a multitude of additives, including modified food starch, various sodium phosphates, and even textured soy protein. These meticulously selected ingredients serve crucial functions. They help to bind moisture effectively, preserve a consistent texture throughout cooking, and cunningly mimic the feel and appearance of a whole, natural chicken cut. However, in doing so, they also significantly blur the crucial line between what constitutes genuine food and what is, essentially, a highly engineered food product. A former employee candidly shared on a public forum that the chicken arrived in massive frozen blocks, already breaded and pre-seasoned, often accompanied by a distinct chemical smell that persistently lingered in the kitchen air. Once submerged into the hot oil, it crisped up remarkably fast. Too fast, he noted, for anything remotely resembling a whole chicken breast. What customers ultimately tasted was, by and large, a rich combination of coating, intense salt, and abundant oil, artfully layered on top of what was fundamentally restructured meat. More than one customer has openly reported experiencing unpleasantly chewy textures, discovering unusual air pockets within their chicken, or feeling that the chicken was more akin to a spongy cake than authentic poultry. And then there is the color, often a stark, bright white inside, conspicuously lacking the natural fibrous, slightly pinkish hue you'd expect from truly cooked chicken breast. That artificial whiteness, while perhaps visually appealing, often results from the use of bleaching agents or potent brine solutions specifically employed to standardize and control its appearance. Furthermore, a closer look at their nutrition labels often reveals additional concerns. A typical chicken sandwich from Checkers or Rally's can contain upwards of a staggering 20 grams of fat and more than 1,000 milligrams of sodium. Their chicken bites, deceptively small enough to finish in just a few quick mouthfuls, can pack nearly the same alarming nutritional punch, especially if liberally dipped in their notoriously salty sauces. And these tempting items are frequently promoted as enticing meal deals, pairing them with sizable portions of fries and sodas that push the total salt and calorie count far beyond generally accepted daily recommendations. None of this, it is crucial to clarify, is illegal, nor is it entirely unique to Checkers or Rally's, as similar practices are prevalent across the fast food industry. However, their marketing strategy, sharply aimed at delivering intense, fast flavor and immediate cheap satisfaction, makes it remarkably easy for consumers to overlook the compromises and alterations quietly occurring behind the curtain. Seniors, often drawn in by a comforting sense of nostalgia or the sheer convenience, may innocently assume they are grabbing a quick, familiar bite just like they used to. But the reality is that the underlying ingredients and fundamental preparation methods have profoundly changed. There is something profoundly, quietly unsettling about the realization that your crispy chicken sandwich might actually contain more engineered filler than it does genuine meat. It's not necessarily that the food itself is unsafe to consume. Rather, it is painstakingly built for unwavering speed, maximum cost savings, and an elaborate illusion of taste and substance. And unless you deliberately pause to scrutinize it closely, you might never truly realize what is actually concealed within that alluring, crispy, golden breading. Back in the day, chicken often came from the warm embrace of the oven, not a sterile factory line. Perhaps that's why each savory bite held so much more meaning, a connection to honest, simple food. Today, a deluge of clever marketing buzzwords and painstakingly crafted flavors skillfully hide just how far we, as consumers, have drifted from the kind of food we once instinctively trusted without a second thought. But here's the crucial takeaway. The more we know, the more informed we become, and the more power we possess to make truly conscious choices that genuinely feel right again. Not rushed, not hidden behind obscure labels, just utterly honest. If anything in this video has made you pause, made you think twice, or ignited a flicker of curiosity, please share your story and insights below in the comments. Give this video a quiet thumbs up if it helped shed some light, and subscribe to The Hidden Menu so that next time your meal comes with a side of fine print, you will already be empowered with the knowledge of what exactly to look for. And remember, the truth, sadly, is not always conveniently found right there on the menu.